Right now, maybe you're feeling paralyzed or overwhelmed by Amazon, or just spinning your wheels on product selection or what to put onto your listing or which ads to run, as well as which ads to avoid, because quite honestly, that's maybe more important. You're not alone, and the answer you're looking for may be found right here in the middle of these 4 circles. Look, that may sound strange, but these are the exact same steps that I use to drive over $100 million in Amazon sales for small startups as well as major retail brands. So if you want to follow along, I've made a resource. It's free, no strings, not even an email sign up. Just click the link and make a copy of this. But I want to take you through a few of these sections because right now I have so many people reaching out who are feeling stuck and they're worried about dumping a ton of money into Amazon only to end up losing everything and then having boxes of dead products just sitting in their garage, mocking them each time they walk by. It's painful, it's embarrassing, and it often causes people to give up and quit on their dreams. So I want to take you through the only 3 things that you need to focus on to start, scale, and win on Amazon. I'm Sean Farrington, co-founder of Pro Seller Elite, and I've made it my mission to take 1,000 people to $100,000 in Amazon sales in the shortest time possible. And to do that, we have to get Eulerian. As silly as this sounds, really this is a great tool for figuring out product selection, what you should launch, and probably more important, what you shouldn't launch. I don't think a lot of people take that in consideration. I think a lot of people think that somehow if you can just find the most awesome product, you'd be willing to launch anything on Amazon. Historically, I can tell you that that's just not true. I've seen it too many times with people trying to launch things that don't fit inside the Eulerian destiny, and it causes a lot more problems than it would seem like it should cause. So I want to make sure that we get this right, and really the center of this is where we want to focus. These 4 circles are all about Eulerian destiny. It's named after the Christian mathematician Leonhard Euler. And he discovered a way of observing motion in a system by focusing on specific fixed points in space. But in our case, we don't really care about any of that because what we're going to do is use this in a way to figure out your business destiny based on critical information about you. Because here's one of the mistakes that I see too often. Beginner sellers will just select from maybe a list of products, or they'll kind of do their product research. In fact, I can show you here right on this sheet. There's a whole section on product selection right here that teaches you how to do that. I even have one. I'll show you how to get access to this, but there are products out there that you can go select right now, thousands of products, including what's like here on this list, and others that I'll show you inside of here. You can go get all those products, but I would actually say don't even list one of those products until you go through your Eulerian destiny. And here's why. You want to start asking yourself some questions that will help you and guide you towards your product selection. The first one is, what did you grow up around? What was your background when you were growing up? What did your parents do? What kind of school did you go to? What kind of neighborhood did you live in? What did you experience while you were living in that neighborhood? This is a critical one, and you want to have that circle filled out with some of that information. So for me, I grew up, my father was a salesman from the earliest days that I can remember, and he started selling carpet at Sears and Roebuck. I don't even know if you know what that is. It's not around anymore. But then he moved on and became a vice president of sales at Carpeteria, which is one of the largest West Coast carpet distributors, sellers around. And that's kind of what I knew. I grew up talking about sales and all this kind of stuff. And he had this weird theory that everyone in the world is a salesman. They're trying to sell something. Even the person trying to get a job from their employer is a salesperson. So that's kind of when I think about background, when I think about what you grew up around, that's the kind of stuff that I grew up around. But the most important is, what did you grow up around? Then a second one is sort of like unto it. What do strangers say about you? What are the common things that you're hearing people say? Hey, you're really good at this, or I like it when you do this. For me, Strangers often said that I have a good voice. I don't know if that was an offense to my face. They're saying you have a voice that's perfect for radio or something like that. They said I'm good at communicating. But what is it about you? Maybe you grew up in a family of engineers and you're really good at math and you're really good at figuring out, CAD drawings and all of these kind of things. What is it for you that strangers say about you? Like, man, you're really good at this kind of a thing. You're starting to see sort of a background that will make sense about you. What is it specifically to you or about you that sets you apart from just the general population? And then I would say another one that's really sort of important to this, to ask a question, is what can you talk endlessly about? All right. So here's what I mean by that. It's not quite as straightforward as it seems, but talking endlessly, I want you to look at it this way. If the president, king, or whoever runs your country pulled you in front of their cabinet and said, I need you to talk on this for 20 minutes straight and give us a detailed understanding of what this is, what could you talk about for 20 minutes straight? I know you'd be nervous. You'd probably be sitting up there going like, I have all these eyeballs staring at me and I don't really know what to do right now. But you would be able to get words out of your head, out of your mouth, into them, and be able to speak authoritatively with deep domain expertise for 20 minutes straight. So, bringing this a little bit into context, for me, I can speak authoritatively, deep domain expertise on marketing and Amazon. But what I would think a lot of people would think is like, what I could also say about this is that I could probably talk endlessly about playing guitar or rock music. But what does that mean? Strangers have never said that I'm an excellent guitar player. They've never told me that, or that I seem to have encyclopedic knowledge of guitars. So when we're talking about deep domain expertise, now you can start to see how we're tying these things around. If your parents were engineers and you had great math skills and people say you're really good at math and you could talk endlessly about product engineering, then you start to understand what you probably wouldn't be involved in, or what kind of products you wouldn't be involved in. Right here, I'd see, if those were your things, there'd be no mention of guitars, right? And then like unto it, we kind of want to look at, this one as well too, this question. In the last 5 to 10 years of experience, what have you had, or what have you been doing in your last 5 to 10 years of experience? So inside of the Pro Seller group, we were talking about this topic of your Eulerian destiny, and one of my students was talking about that, and he said that I'm really excited about wine and winemaking and all of this kind of stuff, and I really want to have a product out there that does something on winemaking because that's what I was passionate about. But when we looked at his Eulerian destiny, he grew up around the tech field. His parents were into technology. Strangers said that he was really good about technology. He'd spent the past 10 years of his life doing technology, specifically security technology, and he could, in front of the President of the United States, talk endlessly about security, IT, using technology for security and all of that kind of stuff. Yet he wanted to launch a wine product. And what we can start to see is that he would be far better doing this. Now, the downside to this is you go like, I may not be as excited about the things that I know. Look, not all aspects of business need to be exciting. You're going to have enough exciting aspects about business just because there's never a straight line in business that always loops ups and downs, and what you think you figured out, you didn't quite figure out or know enough about. There's enough excitement in business. The product selection, I don't think really should be one of them. I would rather see you go something that fits squarely inside of your Eulerian destiny, right here in that middle portion where you can just go, okay, I understand, what fits me, what fits my Eulerian destiny, what I could speak endlessly about for 20 minutes, 30 minutes in front of the most important people in the world. What do strangers say about me? What is it that they say? What have my last 5 to 10 years of experience told me? What can I talk endlessly about? What did I grow up around? I mean, those things are often things that people don't take into consideration. Just the knowledge you have from being around stuff should help you square this away. Now, I think for Eulerian destiny, what's interesting is I don't think this is always about what you should do. It kind of can help you in that process. Maybe some of these are dissimilar and could offer you two choices. But I think what this really does is it kind of goes into excluding what you shouldn't do. So it almost like blocking out, so it's removing things from your options. What you shouldn't do is out here just as important as anything else. So as important as it is, we're looking at, hey, we want to make some money in the world, so we want to stick to the things that overlap in here. We want to have our income come from something that can actually make sense and be relatable to our background and give us the best advantage. I mean, that's honestly what it is. You want to be able to step forward, put your best foot forward, give yourself the best shot of success. And that's all about probabilities. There's no certainties in any of this, but I can guarantee that if you don't fit something, your product doesn't fit inside of this little circle in the middle, and then you're going to really have a hard time, because at some point you're going to be learning so much on Amazon. You're going to be learning so much just in business, on logistics and all that kind of stuff, that at least you want to have one thing that's simple, makes sense to you, and move forward. It should be maybe even just a little bit boring to you. That's okay. The exciting stuff can come with the money. So you can just use all the money you make from selling the boring stuff to go do the exciting stuff. Be on a beach somewhere, whatever that is, with your toes in the sand and more sunshine, more sand, right? So all of that kind of stuff can be paid for by a little bit of a boring product for you. It doesn't mean it's boring to other people. Now, security sounds super interesting to me, using technology for security and all that kind of stuff, because I don't necessarily understand it to the depth that my student does. So that can be exciting for me, but it might be just a little bit boring for him. But there's plenty of other excitement inside of learning how to do Amazon that makes it so that I would really, really, really focus on what's inside of your Eulerian destiny. But then once you have this, we really need to focus on one other area that's probably, I would say, just as important or more important possibly, and that's this down here. And that's really looking at specific things. Really what I want to look at, you notice we have a little tent down here and we have a big castle. So obviously the goal here that we're going to be working on as we sort of move forward, and especially in the product selection framework, is, hey, we want to be able to focus on the castle. That's ultimately what we want. We don't want to stay in tents. So a big factor on that, honestly, is what we call TAM, or total addressable market. So if you're looking at a product, and says that has a $10 million total addressable market, that means in the world, globally, out of all the things that people are interested in, what money is being spent on this subject, on this topic, we want to have a high TAM. We want to have a TAM that's very high. And so what's interesting is when we looked up the TAM for the wine product that my student was, it's about $10 million. That means all the people who were interested in that wine product, $10 million had to be split up between all of the parties competing for that pie. Now, that's just too small. That will keep you camping in the tent for a long time. What we want to do ultimately is look for a TAM, a total addressable market, or total accessible market, you could say. Available market might be another way. A TAM in the billions. And so when we looked at security, that gave us especially security tech, that was well over $1 billion market, well into billions. So just taking into consideration, would you rather spend your life camping out, or would you rather live in the castle? I think most people would say, hey, I'd rather live in the castle. The castle would be my preference. So we want to be looking at products. We want to be looking at opportunities that are addressable in the millions. So like if we were just picking out this product here, look, the TAM for this one, electric pepper grinder, small kitchen appliances, that's what that market is. The TAM, $129 billion. When you have something that has a TAM of $129 billion, is verified by G-Man Insights, like actual verified giving you a TAM that's actually verified. You know it's $129 billion. Look, $129 billion means that you've got room to spread your wings. You've got room to grow a $1 million business, a $10 million business, a $100 million business, and you're not even occupying a large fraction of that business. So it gives you plenty of room to grow. So one of the things that we want to be really careful of and really sure of is that we are going into a market that has a large enough TAM that we can grow into. Money's already being spent by people. They're pulling out their credit cards. They're willing to spend money on whatever this product is. And if you can do that, there's a direct path forward from that market down to the castle, right? So now you've got because you have a high TAM, because we don't want to be living in the tent all the time. We need to have a TAM that's big enough for us to do that. So when we're looking at product opportunities, we want to make sure that we've addressed that as part of our business plan. We want to know what that number is and that that's accessible. So when you're figuring out your own business plan, by the way, this is just a business plan. I'll give you access, show you how you can get access to this in a little bit, but if you want to. But the big thing is this is like just a one-page business plan. I'll go over some of this stuff. But the big thing is, do we have a big enough market to let us have some room for growth, some ability to move forward in a way that's important? Now, the second part to this is we actually need to be making some progress. We need to be able to progress from the tent to the castle. That's got to be part of our design, because you're not going to be able to just start taking over the castle and dominating with a castle on day one. So really you've got to look at it like, hey, we've got to kind of start down here and then grow from there. And our objective is ultimately is that we want to be growing and going from here on up through the castle and above. We want to have a growth curve that allows this kind of activity, that allows this kind of motion, this kind of growth. So yes, we're going to have to start small. We're going to have to start by camping out, roughing it a little bit, if you will. And that's all right. It doesn't have to be perfect. We just need to set up shop. And the good thing about a tent is you can do it quickly. You can set it up quickly, be sheltered, have something going for you on within an hour or within days, or however you want to look at it if you have to go buy the tent or whatever the case is. Whereas you know that when it comes to when it comes to the castle, that's going to take you a little bit more time to build a castle, right? So we want to be able to have a progression that goes like this. So if you're looking at a business plan, say we're looking at this. This is again for the electric pepper grinder. We know that it has a $129 billion TAM. So that 129 billion. 129 billion, that's a pretty good amount of growth potential for us. We can grow into and definitely build a castle out of something like that. But we also want to make sure that we've got a path forward. So in this case, we want to be able to build a kitchen gadget brand that includes electric salt grinders, spice organizers, herb scissors, and magnetic measuring spoons, and just things like that, where we end up building this kitchen accessory brand into something that really sort of makes sense as we go along. We've got the ability to go from camping to the castle. We've got the ability to set up a tent quickly on day one, minute one, that kind of a thing, and build from there. And this framework becomes really important. This framework becomes really critical, especially as we go forward. So that's one of the things why this checklist is so important. We're talking about the selection portion right here. And again, I'll put this link so that you've got that available to you. You can just go grab this. This is absolutely free. This is the Amazon Success Formula. You're going to notice all these tabs along the bottom here. I've got things like cheat codes, so you can just go home and really quickly. These are actual things you can just go download for free right now, or access to links. Then you've got some bonuses. I've got a whole bunch of tools, like listings to tools. You can just go click links. These aren't affiliate links or anything like that. I'm just giving them to you. I'm showing you how to launch onto Amazon, exactly what to do. You've got checklist items on there as far as like, hey, I need to do this. I need to do this. What are my priorities? All of that kind of stuff. You've actually got different lists on that. You've got drop downs in here that you can do. So this is available to you right now. This is a complete system to help you go from product selection to growing and scaling on Amazon. So I want to make sure I get that to you. But one of the things that I really want to also make sure is that when we're talking about growing on Amazon and going from this idea of camping to the castle on Amazon. First of all, let's not get stuck in a low TAM niche. If this is you don't want to ever have a TAM that's measured in millions, only in billions, so 1 billion and above. So you have enough room to grow. There's enough money already flowing that you can just go in, take a small section of that pie and start winning quickly. But there's a catch, because there's a lot of things that we really need to learn in this process. I mean, we're just thinking on sort of like the most basic level of what we need to learn when it comes to growing on Amazon and, even starting on Amazon, is that, you've got certain things like, you got to figure out that product selection. So we need to use that Eulerian destiny that we kind of worked on just a little bit earlier. So this is my really lame attempt at drawing circles in Eulerian destiny. So Eulerian destiny is a big one there. Then you've also got to learn things like, hey, how do I end up dealing with logistics? How do I get things shipped from one location to another and in a way that makes sense? There's going to be just some of that regardless of whether you know how to set up Amazon or not. So that's my lame attempt at a truck there. And regardless of whether you're on Amazon, Shopify, or anything like that, you're going to have to learn some of this. But honestly, Amazon makes this incredibly easy. They've got great programs from Global Logistics right now. Amazon Global Logistics will help you go from the dock at your warehouse, the freight dock at your warehouse, onto a ship, across the ship, into the warehouses, into Amazon. Amazon AWD, Amazon Warehousing and Distribution is what it's called, will actually store the inventory for you, so you don't even need to have a third-party logistic handler anymore, and then it will actually backfill your inventory so you don't ever run out of inventory inside of Amazon. So those are huge things that already solve for you inside of the Amazon ecosystem. That I think are really huge results. And then the other one you're going to want to really need to figure out sort of early, and this is actually probably a little bit more detailed than maybe I have time to explain right now, but no, we'll dive into it. How about that? This is what I call the Amazon flywheel, and this is the idea that it just takes a little bit of effort to get momentum, but in very specific ways on Amazon. So this is my lame attempt at a flywheel here. What do you think of that? It looks sort of like it's rotating, I guess. I wonder if I can make that thicker just because I'm a nerd that way. Let's try that. There you go, the Amazon flywheel. This is inside, if you want to look at your tabs here, this is really inside of the launch tab. When you're doing that as a large part of the Amazon setup and how do you kind of get going and then grow. Over here is the flywheel on how you do all that. There's tons of cheat codes in here. You notice this yellow bar, this cheat code, you can actually just go grab these things right away and start downloading them as a resource. There's also a little checklist in here. How are you doing on each of these things? Good, can be improved, bad, not relevant to what you're doing right now. And there's literally, you just go down this checkload and you can start doing that. Another way to kind of look at this is having a system like this is one of the things that having this kind of classroom system where you just go through and you learn about the 100K matrix. You go in and have templates you can download and watch videos and stuff like that. So you need to have some kind of system or system that does this for you rather than just trying to figure this out by watching random videos that may or may not be of use to you at any point, because you really need to understand, what does this mean to kind of get this spinning and going faster and faster and faster. So those are the ways that I would look at that. I want a system that will end up, taking me step by step through all of the different things. Where just start at one place and go to the next and go to the next, and that system, as you essentially do everything in that, starts spinning faster and faster and faster and faster. And then, in order to really get over here, one of the things that we've really got to be doing is sort of building out new value, like brick by brick. And so what we're looking for is just stacking value. Like, how do we end up stacking value upon value, solving bigger and bigger problems for our shoppers in a way that has them coming back and buying more and buying more and buying more. So looking at this, kind of what we're talking about here is this idea of, how do we go from, just the first thing, which is this electric pepper grinder. How do we go up from there to a gadget brand that includes electric salt grinders, spice organizers, herb scissors, and magnetic measuring spoons, and all of these kind of things we can just build and build and build and build, solving bigger and bigger problems as we go along. this part right here is probably one of the more important parts, because this is really about getting attention on Amazon. And so we really want to go to the pyramid of attention for that on Amazon. And this is really just a way to think about, getting attention in a few very specific ways on Amazon. Because look, money follows attention. That's just sort of a rule. Whether you're on Amazon or off Amazon, money follows attention. So the first goal of what we've got to be doing inside of Amazon, or any business for that matter, is getting to attention. But there are actually some limits to this. So what you see I'm sort of drawing out here are just the layers to the pyramid. And these are for reasons, because I think a lot of students get stuck in areas that aren't about getting attention, and they spend a lot of time thinking about things that aren't about getting attention. And I'm going to show you why that's sort of critically important to get this right. So what we're going to do is there's actually called this level of attention, and what you're going to find is that sort of everything below this level really doesn't get you any attention on Amazon. So we want to be careful to be spending time up here in this upper level. So one of the things that goes on below this level, a lot of people focus on, is getting the Amazon account set up. Listen, you've got to get your Amazon account set up, but it is not the be-all, end-all of that. It's a really quick process. Matter of fact, on the checklist right here, if you've got the launch portion of it, you can literally just go down this. I've got resources here you can go into, really just links so you can follow on how to set all of that up and be set up. And this should really take, I would say totally, that this portion down should take maybe an hour or two at best. And I say that because you'll be doing stuff. It may take a few days to get the process done, but it's not that much work. There's a little bit of back and forth, verifications, things like that. You need a couple documents need to get together. So an ID, a government approved ID, all of that kind of stuff needs to be down here. But really, you shouldn't be spending days or weeks on this. You should be setting this up while you kind of move on to the next one. And really what you want to be doing from that is working on your product listing is number 2. These are just the essentials you need to have, because what you're going to have for the product listing, you need to make room for what's going to go on this level, which is you're going to be shipping products into that listing. So in order to do this, here's the layers. You really got to set up your Amazon account. You got to get a product listing live, even if it's not fully optimized, even if the marketing's not fully done, just because you need to be able to you need to be able to send inventory into this product listing. So that's part of the process. You need to go inventory into that. In order to get the product listing, you need the Amazon account. But sadly, a lot of sellers think that, hey, if I just get set up on Amazon, then I've solved it all. I'm visible. Like, that's good. That's really not true. There are just so many sellers on Amazon that just getting this stuff done, you're still not above that line of visibility. So you're not yet getting attention on Amazon. So one of the first things that we've really got to work on in this is this idea of curiosity. We need to be getting and making curiosity. And when we can do this right, we start to get our first levels of attention. So really quick, looking out here, this is what happens out on the search. When you're in Amazon search, just a whole bunch of listings come up, right? And pretty much for the most part, what I see most sellers is they all look very much the same. They look very much identical. You have to, as your goal, is to find some way to stand out. You want to go from being lost in the sea of sameness to just being something different that really makes things stand out, to where they're like, hey, what is going on over here that I need to be paying attention to? What is going on? And just something that says, hey, I am doing things differently. Whatever it is, whatever is going on in this one, I need to go see. I need to take a look at. I need to click onto. I need to try and see if I can stand out. So again, in the sea of sameness, we just need something that will help us do that. So right here on the listing, if you look at your own Amazon listing, the thing that really does that the best is right over here. And it's called your main image. All right. So your main image is the top image on your listing. It's the first one. I see a lot of people, kind of get their main image. They just don't put a lot of effort into it. So what we really want to do is be building curiosity on this. And that's just having something in that image that is different from everyone else. So it could be anything from words that are on the packaging, having packaging, no one else has packaging, maybe some ingredients on that main image, because this image is going to do battle for you in a very specific way. it's going to basically stop the thumb scroll. So, this is a desktop view of how things work out on Amazon. But on mobile, it's more of a scroll. So whatever we're doing, we need to be able to stop that scroll and get some curiosity onto the listing. Another great way to do this is actually down here. Amazon allows you to create videos. So I'm going to do my sort of best here to draw a little video, a play button. But the idea is, you can put a video on your listing, that act right there just changes conversions massively. A lot of people don't realize that just having video on there, having something moving, something that seems interactive, not just another static image, we've seen increased conversions by 10, 20, even up to 100% conversions just by having a video on there, because it's one of the first things clicked. They come in here, click on this because it's out in the wild. This is your billboard on the Amazon superhighway, right? So you've got to have this that just gets attention. It's a little bit of curiosity, goes, hey, what's that? That's the start of that. Then they get on their listing. Then they're going to click onto this. They'll probably click on your video. So having some video on there that just builds, that keeps them curious and keeps them engaged on the listing. And this is almost all about dwell time on the listing, time on listing. How long they spend there and increases their commitment bias, meaning I've invested 5 seconds, now I've invested 10 seconds, now I've invested 30 seconds, now I've invested a minute and 20 seconds looking over this listing. And the longer I stay on that listing, the higher the probability is that I'm going to go over and click that add to cart button. So we really want to keep attention going in these two ways. Keep attention high and curiosity out here on the main image. We want to have all of that going for us out there. And then as we're going along, now we've moved above this level. And now we're driving curiosity up here into this range. So I really don't want this to be red because that feels negative. So I'll just go ahead and paint it, and then we'll make it another color. Amazon gold, because that's what that is. So if we can drive curiosity, we've sort of popped up above. So we're not just don't have a product listing hoping that we can sell. Hey, I've seen just this one move of getting curiosity, sort of working on simple things like this main image and focusing on that, really transform businesses almost instantly. Going from lost on page 7 to dominating up on page 1, getting up in that searches. So focusing on curiosity is actually a big lever to move forward. But then once we have curiosity, we need to move to what's next, and that is projection. So we need to take some of this curiosity, project it out across Amazon. Now, the most obvious way, I kind of talked about video before. Right now on Amazon, video is kind of underutilized. It's underplayed as an asset. Everyone's selling on TikTok and Insta, understand the power of video. But on Amazon, most sellers don't. So this is really a sort of a growth period right now to be able to do that right. One of the things that really helps with that is we've seen this. This is called the one hack equals 10 times more sales. Literally, this is an amazing thing that we've seen, that one hack of just being able to use video in the right way and having a system to do video really does transform growth in a way, because you can take that video and actually show up above all of those other static listings out there on Amazon. So everyone else is down here playing with their main image and you got a video just up here cranking away. It just changes things and allows you to project attention out onto the farthest reaches of Amazon. Here's another one people don't realize. Amazon is now allowing video to be placed on other people's listings. So you can now target this listing and put your video on someone else's listings. And so this idea of projecting attention out there is really just an amazing thing that you can do now and target listings that aren't even your competitors. That's so important, the idea of not playing the game like everyone else plays it on Amazon. So if I can now target a listing that's not my competitors, that means that if I'm selling, like, let's just go back to this right here real quick. So if I'm selling this product, which is a electric pepper grinder, I can actually go target the people who are selling electric salt grinders. So yes, I'm selling electric pepper grinders, but I can go target the electric salt grinders because they are my same market. But I guarantee you, no one else is doing this. Like I'm out there in the trenches on Amazon, and no one else is playing the game like this. or very few people. They see some of my videos, they kind of jump in and start playing the game like that. But no one else is playing the game of targeting other people's listings in this way. And why? Because it takes a little bit of effort. It takes a little bit of thought. But honestly, right here, the thought's given to you. I can go ahead and target electric salt grinders. I can target spice organizers. I can target herb scissors. Why? Because they're the same market. They all share the same desire. They want kitchen gadgets to solve their problems inside the kitchen. They're all foodies at some level, or they like showing off their kitchen gadgetry. Whatever it is, they want a transformation from where they are to where they want to be. A better foodie, a better entertainer, let their family smile whenever they make that great meal for them. Whatever those things are, they want to have that. When you do this and sort of build up this level of curiosity and projecting it out into the wilds of Amazon, then you start to dominate another little section of Amazon. You actually are now owning, and you're taking control of more space and getting more attention on Amazon. And you're getting further and further towards your goal of owning that castle. Again, we're in this little section of building this flywheel right now. So we've gone over curiosity, projection. The next one we need to focus on right here is this, guerrilla. We don't want to play the game in the same way that everyone else is. So getting onto other people's listings, like I just explained to you, is one of the most guerrilla moves that you can make. I start putting my ads here on the salt grinders, on the spice grinders, whatever those cases are for my pepper grinder, and then I am now being more guerrilla. I'm using other people's listings, but that's not all. There's actually a little section down here called the frequently bought with section, or frequently bought together, and it usually shows the product that's the on-page product, along with one or two other options that Amazon bundles together. Did you know that you can hack the frequently bought together area? You can. You can use friends or family to go make the purchase there. You can actually just target it with ads until it pops, and all of a sudden you own a piece of real estate right here on other people's listings. It's using other people's product pages to your benefit. And that's really what we call affinity targeting. I mean, we're looking for ways to do affinity. Amazon doesn't actually allow for affinity targeting. They don't provide means for it. You can do it. It's not disallowed. It's not illegal. It's just they don't provide the means for you to make it easily accessible to go find those products. So here's just the way you do it. You just literally go down and look at any product page, see what's also bought, and those are your affinity targets. If it's not the same product, so if it's not another pepper mill, electronic pepper mill, it's something else over here. These are affinity targets. Amazon has decided, hey, these things down here that are sold with or they're frequently bought with are also products that could be useful to you. So you want to be looking for, hey, what's down here? What are the products that Amazon is suggesting up? And when you find them, you can actually target those with ads in a way that becomes profitable and sets you up for future growth, and really starts to build up and spin up this whole idea of a flywheel. This flywheel just starts spinning faster and faster as you make these kind of moves. You're just dominating more and more and more attention on Amazon. You're getting more from the farthest reaches of Amazon, and all of a sudden your sales start to grow. You start to get more attention, and then you can do the last thing, and that is building a brand. And so this is the idea that we had going on here, is you're just solving bigger and bigger problems one at a time. But what I mean by this specifically is, if you look down here, again, build a kitchen gadget brand that includes electric salt grinders, spice organizers, herb scissors. You're not a one-trick pony. You're not just solving one problem. You're able to now grow out and grow and grow and grow from this one position, from this idea of setting up the tent. You now grow and grow and grow until you own the castle, until you've built the castle. So this is the idea of just solving bigger and bigger problems, moving on to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 products, and then you've got a brand that can dominate more and more of this billion-dollar market, whatever that market is for you, and take that over. It's like I kind of talked a little bit earlier about how, I've driven over $100 million in Amazon sales. I'm going to be really super honest with you right now and frank, and kind of give you maybe a little bit of a peek behind the curtain. When it comes to that $100 million that I've generated on Amazon, a majority of that came I would say 90-95% of it came by focusing right here, just at the top, just at these actions over here. These actions over and over again were the thing that drove the most sales, that drove more and more activity, and really just circling back around. Look, it doesn't need to be super complicated. I just circle around these things, curiosity, projection, guerrilla brand, over and over and over again. And that's exactly why I built a full system that does all of this and takes you through all that. Literally, you just start here, you go here, you go here. I'll give you access to this system if that's something that's interesting to you. But one of the things I also wanted to show you is this, kind of what I was showing you here is, this is actually a business plan. It's a one-page business plan for a product that is an electric pepper grinder. But if you're going to notice out here also, there's another one that does between 20 and 16K a month, 8K to you, sort of when it's all done. Again, we're talking about the idea of going from camping, camping to the castle. So this is just the camping portion of it, just starting out, and then how you build that out, right? Sleep earbuds and expand to sleep with smart tech headbands, white noise machines, weighted eye masks, sleep, and all this kind of stuff. The idea is there are multiple of these one-page business plans right here going back, and this is like a vending machine that I just crank out every day. We have a new one that I spend time on, my team spends time on, coming up with new product ideas to launch. And you just go backwards and get old ones. You can come forward and get new ones. If none of these are super exciting to you, no problem. You can just go ahead and grab a new one. There's a new one coming around the corner every day. But having a system like this where you've got the ability to have tons of products available to you, and then you can then run them through your Eulerian Destiny framework and say, does this really fit with what I grew up around, with what strangers say about me, with what I can talk endlessly about, with my last 5 to 10 years of experience? If it doesn't, move on to another one. If it does or comes close to it, you're like, hey, that could be interesting. I could see how that would work for me, and it's already sort of got a proven marketplace. We've already got a monthly TAM in here. It's got a monthly TAM in the billions, $26.6 billion by Grandview Research, which is one of the biggest research firms out there. So we know that this is a market that can actually generate money for me and has a large possibility, and it has a path forward so I can go from camping to the castle because of, first of all, the TAM's there, but then I can expand out into different areas and build a brand and solve bigger and bigger problems, stacking upon stack. And then I've got a system also on how to build up this flywheel, because I can literally just start right here, go to the next thing, go to the next thing. You need a system like this where you're not guessing, where you actually just know what's the fastest way to $100,000. What do I need to do? How do I get free traffic? How do I do with paid traffic? And even advanced training. And sort of the other things I think that you're really going to need to move much faster, just because it's changing so quickly, are AI shortcuts that you can just literally launch and use today, and will cut months of work down to minutes, literally. I've seen that sort of over and over again. So you want a full system that does all of this, including that product vending machine. And then the other thing you're going to want is also access to people. These are my gems posts right here. These aren't even my posts. If you're noticing, these are actually by other people. Brandon was showing his first experience on Amazon, telling you detail what actually went down, how it went. How Gabby's talking about how you can animate your Amazon images in Google and start to use them for video assets, and she did a great job of that, and started to increase her sales with all of that. So one of the things that I want to say too is I just want to focus on this part over and over and over again. This system really does all of that for you. The other thing is too, you can get pretty far with this checklist. That's free. You can just go grab that now. That'll get you through a lot of this kind of stuff really quickly. So I want to make sure you also have that. But one thing I do want to say to you is this. It's ancient wisdom from the Bible, and it says, plans fail for lack of counsel, but with many advisors, they succeed. That's Proverbs 15:22. And this is just a mistake that I've seen beginners make over and over again, as they just flail along trying to solve it all themselves. And that's why I really created Pro Seller Lead. As I said, my goal is to help 1,000 people get to $100,000 in sales on Amazon. And so if this seems something that might be interesting to you, having a daily vending machine of product ideas, having a classroom that you can just go through and start at the beginning and move on and start to build up that flywheel, having a community of people that you're excited to work with, having a calendar. I also have a calendar of events. You can just join me live for any of that, any of my live calls. You can just get on there, get some advice really quickly. One of the other things that I'm doing for a limited time is I'm going to limit this to 100 people, but I'm going to also offer a private audit. If you sign up with Pro Seller Elite, I'll give you a private audit. It'll be either one-on-one with you, or if you just want me to do a Loom video, that's fine too. You also get access to that product vending machine. And look, I'm limiting this down to 100 people because I really want to keep this tight, effective, close-knit, and really about you as much as possible, not just about a huge group of people. So I really want to make that as viable and as valuable to you as I possibly can. So that's what's going to be inside Pro Seller Elite. The link is down in the description. You can just go grab and start today. I would get on there, get onto one of the calls. I'm going to offer you a 7-day free trial for this. That's really exciting too, because the 7-day free trial, you can literally get in, grab all of those templates. You could come over here and grab a few products right away, scan through any of these. You go in that classroom, grab the templates. You can download those immediately, run away with those. You could join inside some of the group discussions. Come up here and join me on the calendar here for some of these events. Those would all be available to you too. You could do all of that before your 7 days was even up. You could probably get 2 events with me easily, and also spend some time in there, grab all of that before the 7 days is up. And I'm doing this because I believe this is the best system out there anywhere for going from where you are, maybe that's 0 sales on Amazon, stuck, struggling, trying to figure out your product, to $100,000 in the shortest time possible. And I'm there going along with you. I'm going to put the link to this in the description down below. But where I see a lot of Amazon sellers fail is finding shoppers for their products. So in this video, I'm just going to show you how to hijack shoppers, ethically of course. So click that and I'll show you just how easy it all can be.